So can you just start off giving us a little history on yourself, where you're born, where you're from?
I was born 7 miles south of Shenandoah. If you're familiar with the Coin Road, our house was 1 mile east of the 59.
Okay. And so you say you're 92 years old?
Yeah, I was born in 22.
Oh, all right.
The middle child of 11 family.
So then, as a child, were you an FFA member growing up, or?
In 1937, the Shenandoah School Board hired a young guy from right out of Ames to start a folk ag class in Shenandoah School. I was a sophomore in high school at the time,
Did you join?
and I joined the FFA and, of course, the class, ag class. He was an eager beaver. He was really a good teacher.
What kind of sparked your interest in founding the Davis Rogers chapter?
Well, we were lucky that a guy moved into Shenandoah School as a senior, and he'd come from a school that had the FFA, so we helped to start the FFA class, or the FFA itself, and we had a good start.
How big was it to start with?
There was probably 30, 35, I would guess. I don't know. There were a lot of young farm kids at that time. The farms were small. If you had 240 acres, you was a big farmer. Most of the farms was 80 and 160, so there's a lot of farm kids at that time. Still farmed with most of it with horses.
So can you kind of explain your role in founding the Davis Rogers FFA chapter?
Yes, I'm a charter member of it. As far as I know, there's no one left around here as a charter member except me.
Can you kind of explain, like, any hurdles you had to overcome or great achievements that you guys succeeded in?
Well, that's been a long time ago, but I know we competed with the other schools like you did, and we went to the state convention, and the national one was in Kansas City. We went with that one. We had an active club, and it done. We like we say, we went to the local deals just like you did, and competed with the local schools. I remember going to Mount Air, and that's one of the bigger schools we went to.
So then I understand that the name Davis Rogers came from some veterans and some, like a prisoner of war. Can you explain that a little bit?
Davis and Rogers were about 3 years older than I was. They were seniors when I was a freshman. And I knew them real well. Davis was a good football player, and he was a good guy. He was always friendly, and I knew him real well. He's a pilot in the World War II, and he's flying supplies over the hump in China to supply the troops over in the eastern part of Asia. And he crashed his plane. They found it about 10 years ago. I went to his funeral in Shenandoah. Rogers, I knew him real well. He had a brother of the same age as I did. he would, I don't know what he done in World War II, but he was killed in the service too. So they wasn't, that was how they got killed, was in fighting in World War II.
Tell some of your favorite memories of being a charter member and of FFA in general.
Yeah. We had a outing in the summertime. We went down to Big Lake. That was before the river went down and ruined it. And we rented some cabins and we stayed down there 3 or 4 days. And we'd done our own cooking, if you can believe it, but I was making a big pot of macaroni one evening for supper, and all of a sudden crash right through the window come a softball right in my pot of macaroni. We decided that the softball wasn't that bad, so we went ahead and ate it. The teacher, who was Frank Burrell, he bought a new 39 Chevy car, and he had it down there, and he told me and a couple of other guys to go into town and get some watermelons. Well, I was a new driver and smart, and they said, "This thing got hydraulic brakes in it." I said, "Yes," and slammed on the brakes, and I forgot about the watermelons in the trunk. We didn't have to cut them when we got back to the camp. I had a nice job of cleaning up his trunk. The next year we went to Lake Aquabi, and it was really nice. But I don't remember much about it, but it was, they had a big cabin up, and I don't know what you call it. I can't say the word, but it was a real nice place. Had a fireplace and everything in there. And one day we was out and it was kind of chilly, and I said, "Let's go back and build a fire in there." So we went back and built a fire in it. And the rest of the guys come, and we locked the door so they couldn't get in. And they proceeded to climb up and put something over the chimney and smoke us out. So we had a good group. We done a lot of judging of. There was a lot of purebred breeders around at that time: hogs, sheep, cattle, horses, and the Corinda Mental Institute had a dairy herd. And it was really a good one, and we'd go over there and judge the cows over there.
Where would you be without FFA, and how has it impacted your life?
Well, I farmed all my life, and I learned a lot in judging. And one day I was over at Corinda Fair, and a friend of mine said they're having a livestock judging contest down there. So we went down and entered it, and they picked 3 top ones to go to Iowa State Fair. And I was one of the 3.
Oh, wow.
And I also went to Ames with a crop judging team we had. So I used a lot of that in my farming days. I had a small herd of cows, and I'd go to the sale barn and buy a few calves to make enough for a trailer load. And one day I had bought some calves up the sale, and an old cattle man, he was there, and he said, "Young man," he said, "you seem to be a pretty good judge of cattle." I said, "I learned it in FFA." We did win anything going to fair, but it was quite experience for a young man like me who never got away from the farm very much.
Yeah, and it still is a great experience because FFA now is more than just on the farm, and it's more like science and genetics, and it's really intense and broad.
You don't have the young men that are going to, all of them are not going to farm.
Yeah.
They just don't need that. So you've got to spread out on something. And
Is there anything current members you want current members to be aware of?
well, I miss all my old friends that I went to school with. FFA. It's really a good organization. Like I say, I learned a lot and used it in my farm life, and it's really a good organization.
Is there something you'd like current members to do today?
Well, all I can say is that if they got a chance to join the FFA, I think they should, because it's a really a good organization, and it'll be good for them.
All right, thank you.